tonight's conversation of success. I am so excited to be part of the conversation tonight. I'm here tonight playing host for our fabulous, fabulous new upcoming leader in the field who's making powerful changes, who's impacting the world. As we connect with all of Organo family, I'm going to ask everybody in the thread, put down your favorite beverage tonight. That is the way we roll. What is your favorite beverage? What is your favorite BU product? What is your favorite trip you took with Travala? I want everyone to chime in, give us a little piece of you, show us a little bit of love. We're super excited tonight. And the reason being is because I'm actually going to be doing a continuum. You see, on Saturday, we had 3 powerful diamonds from Asia on the Conversations of Success in Asia, which, by the way, will be uploaded, we're thinking, by tomorrow in OG Academy. 3 powerful diamonds talking on Conversations of Success and women empowerment. That took place yesterday. If you saw it live, fantastic. And if you haven't yet, stay tuned because that recording is up and coming, and I'm super excited for everyone to watch it. So we're going to continue the party on women empowerment. My name is Diane. I'm a diamond consultant in Organo. I absolutely loved Organo because it changed my life. It was a powerful vehicle to help people around the world get really powerful with their health, with their financial freedom, with basically unleashing and allowing the everyday person to have a vehicle for change to make a massive difference. And the reason why I decided to join Organo was because it was a vehicle to help me as a single mom to start getting my life back together again. I was looking for an answer. I was praying to God every night saying, what in the world exists with no risk, no capital, that will match my efforts, that will match my hard work, and be able to give me the life that I was looking for: time freedom, location freedom, financial stability, health, purpose, all of that. Organo showed up. And I'm so grateful. And I'm excited tonight because we have another powerful mompreneur who also will be sharing her story with us tonight. Natalie Morse is our powerful sapphire. We're going to hear about Natalie's story tonight. She is also a Canadian, simply in the backyard of Toronto. She comes from a small town called Leamington that's close to Windsor. And Natalie and I had a serendipitous connection. We have a very similar story. And I'm so honored to be here on the call with her tonight to be sharing her conversation, her journey in Organo. Natalie Morse, welcome to tonight's Conversation of Success. Tonight is the big unleashing on who are the new people having great success, great traction, great impact in Organo and in the world. So Natalie Morse, take it away. I'm going to showcase you to the world, share with us, you know, your journey and everything that basically Organo's offered to you. So feel free and take over, and we'll have a nice conversation tonight around all of that.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Diane, for that wonderful lead-in, that wonderful introduction. And thank you to Organo for inviting me to be on Conversations of Success. This is a great honor to be here tonight with my OG family and the OG world, literally around the world. So it's very great and very exciting to be here. So yeah, Diane and our stories, we definitely have some parallels. And that's why when we meet each other and we connect on certain levels, there's a lot. So I met Diane actually almost exactly 2 years ago at an event, at a functional medicine practitioner event. And I was in a situation in my life where I had just left my husband and I needed to have some extra income. I was reevaluating, reassessing everything, figuring out how I was going to move forward, because the life I've been trying to build for the last 20 years suddenly changed. So that was change. And in that rebuilding phase, Diane and Organo came into my life. So I was also in the budding stages of my private functional medicine practice. And in the functional medicine practice, I was attracting a lot of clients who had autoimmune conditions. And a very common thing with my clients is they've been told you need to give up coffee. And so I was struggling. And at that point, I honestly didn't drink coffee. 2 years ago, I did not drink coffee. And so people would ask, coffee, yes, no. You know, there's research showing it's good. There's research showing that it has some harmful effects. So, you know, as someone people look up to and come to for health advice, like I didn't really have a good answer for them. I could, okay, well, here's a little bit of information on one side. Here's a little bit of information on the other side. And so when a product came in front of me that I could stand behind, and I could go, you know what, if you if you want to drink coffee, and if you're a coffee drinker, please drink this one. So that was able to give, to me, it was able to give something back to my clients. It was able to give some, that it's more than a glimmer of hope. It's that morning routine. It's that morning feel good. It's that morning pick me up to give something that they can feel happy about, that they're supporting their bodies at the same time that I could start building an extra stream of income, and I could start working around my schedule, and I could start running events that I was passionate about, and how that fit into my life as a newly single mom, of when I wanted to work and when I didn't want to work. Not that I didn't want to work, but that's how I had a little more control over my schedule when I was focused on certain areas of the business. So that's a little bit of how 2 years ago when Organo came into my life, and what led Diane and I to have this amazing conversation, and really the start of a beautiful relationship together.
I remember that conversation, actually. I didn't know the impact it was going to have. You see, you just never know who you're going to affect. I just remember sharing blatantly open to a whole crowd of people on that event that day, Natalie. And we were doing a tasting event. We were allowing people to taste the product, because the product tastes amazing, but it's not only tasting amazing. We know how it helps in the body physiology. We know what the product does. We know that every sip a person's getting better immune response. Every sip, they get better mental clarity. Every sip, they're getting better energy. Every sip, they're getting better hormone balance. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And as a functional medicine practitioner, which is who you are, myself as a nutritionist as well, we knew about the product, but it was the stories and the impact. I never thought this would happen. And I remember that day, you came up to me at the end of that event and you're like, Diane, tell me more about this. I identify with your story. And I remember us having this connection because we had similar stories. You just don't know where life's going to go. You wake up one day, and when you think it's going down road A, bam, it goes down road B. And you and I had the same moments where we're just praying at night going, what am I going to do? My whole world just got flipped upside down, right? And sometimes not all storms come along to disrupt your life. Some of them come along to actually clear your path. And that's what happened to me. And I know that that's what's happened to you. So share with us a little bit about that story of after we spoke. And I said, look, all out straight up, here's what Organo did for me. I'm tired of the brick and mortar practice. I can't keep 12 hours a day every day and not see my son. I don't want to be paying daycare and working to pay bills. I want time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and I still want to have impact. You felt the same way. So what happened after that day we spoke? And then what did it feel like to go home to your little ones and share, what mommy's going to be doing now?
Yeah. So, this is my why, right? These are my little guys that, as a mom, like we have so many chances in our life in pivotal moments of what we're going to do for ourselves and our children, and how we're going to handle this situation going forward. So with them being my clear why, it was, as a mom, it's whatever needs to be done to get them what they need, and for us to have a future that we can be happy and have some peace in our life, and have some freedom, and have some breathing room. I was willing to work for it. So I was willing to work with it, and with them being so front and center in my life, that was what we were going to do. So, I throw this picture of the lovely Diane, and this was us at an event in Florida last year, which was great, at the OG conference. So yeah, we connected and we clicked right away. And I remember a very early on conversation, because I think, when I told Diane my situation of being a single mom now, it was like no hesitation. And this is where I was just like, this is it. It was like zero hesitation. Diane's like, oh, let's get you some residual income. And I was like, when you feel something, when you feel truth, it was, yes, this is it. And this is the woman who's going to help me have that reality. So I was very blessed that we were able to connect. And because Diane is such a strong and powerful woman, we were able to work very, very well, very closely together. So this is part of my story and part of the struggles, right? So when the storm comes through, interestingly enough, there's pictures of ships in this in this picture. So when we're going through the storm, or when we feel we're at the bottom, sometimes we have to go through those pains and those trials and tribulations. And that's where shows us what we're made of and shows what we're willing to do and what we're willing to. So for the betterment and what was necessary for me in that time of my life is for 6 months of my life in 2018, I slept either on an air mattress, on a pillow couch, or a futon, and for a little while sleeping with 2 kids on a pillow couch, because we had a pillow couch and we had a futon, and each one would be like, you know, kids were in a new environment, so they weren't 100% comfortable. So one would say, hey mom, can you sleep with me? And then the other one would be like, mom, I need you. So there was like back and forth. So did I sleep much for 6 months? Not so much. And it was finally the 3 of us, I'd finally said, okay, the 3 of us are sleeping on the pillow couch together because not comfortable, mom's in the middle. But we did that for a little while. And then I was just like, okay, that's it, foot down. I have some income coming in from Organo. I had been reinvesting my income, my income from sales initially. I'd been reinvesting into more stock so I could move more product. And I was like, you know what, finally, I am using some of this income that I've been working on over the last couple months. And I bought us a bed, right? So it's a bed. It's nothing fancy, but that was my bed. That was my bed that I had not had as a grown woman, mother of 2, did not have a bed for 6 months. So this was a major turning point. This was a major pivotal moment for me and for my children going forward. So I no longer take the little things for granted, of how amazing and how important it is for moms to be able to give their kids something like a bed, something to make them comfortable and feel relaxed and to contribute to a safe space, however you use that income coming in to make it better for you and your family. So that was a big pivotal moment for me and the start of my journey with Organo. And seeing that something as big as a bed and as how meaningful that was, I knew it was on the doorstep. I knew it was on the doorstep of, well, there's more. If you're willing to work, there's more where this can come from. There's more. And with the right attitude and the right mindset and coming from my heart of wanting better for my kids, there was definitely more. Hey, Dylan.
Mompreneuring live, guys.
Mompreneuring live, exactly. We're all working from home. We're used to seeing our children. Again, we haven't seen Dylan in person in a super long time, and we might not for a little bit longer. So it's great that we can still see the little munchkins. And I know my munchkins and Dylan have definitely been at the back of meetings on their little devices before. So we've definitely had a great time of connecting at events with other parents and other kids. So I really enjoy also having my children around other powerful people, other families who are heart-centered and mission-driven and trying to do better in the world, because those are other children and other families that I want my children hanging around with. So Organo's been a really pivotal part of and very front and center of our journey over the last 2 years.
Isn't it wonderful how this vehicle really is a family business if you want it to be? And I always tell people, look, if you have a family, if you have spouses, you have kids, you got to get them on board if you want to be successful. If you don't have a plan and you don't let them know mommy or daddy need to be on the forefront, I need 2 months where I'm going to buckle down, and everyone needs to give mommy or daddy that space to build. You know, if you need to have that conversation with your spouse, have it. If you need to have that conversation with your kids, have it. We got to get everybody on board. Otherwise, there's going to be resentment, because just like any business, you don't come in with capital to build a multi-million-dollar business, a 1,000-dare business. You come in with sweat equity. And that's the piece that is super important that I don't know if people really understand, is to get everybody on board. And Natalie, I love it because, you know, one of my favorite things to do, especially when Dylan was a lot smaller, when I first started, was I just made sure, hey, what events can I create with other moms, other families out there with my kid can go in the basement, have fun, play some games, build some Lego, while I'm upstairs with the adults having some really powerful conversation. And he gets to see all this. And that subconscious program mind is starting to download, you know, you taking control of your life, you doing things that make you smile, you making a purpose and change in the world. And that's what it's really about. And I know you and I have had some great times building together where the kids are having a good old time out there in the hall or in the basement. and we're on purpose. And we all go home, and it's just such a lovely way for everyone to feel connected, on point, excited about life, moving forward, and purposeful, which is really what life is all about. So back to you, and thank you for sharing. Keep going.
Yeah, and it's great in those situations that for the kids to see what mom or dad can do and what they do, right? And I realize we're in a little bit, a little different scenario where a lot of people are working from home all of a sudden. And so kids are seeing what mom and dad do for work that maybe they didn't have. But that was always a conscious effort, a conscious choice in the last few years that I want them to see this. I want them to see hard work. I want them to see the ins and outs and behind the scenes of what it takes to build a business, because they're definitely not getting that at school, and the kids realize they're not getting information and things like that in school. So when I showed that picture of Diane and I at the conference in Florida last year, where our kids are in the conference room learning from these high-powered speakers, learning from these motivational speakers. And even if they're at the back of the room, and I had one really good picture of like a whole bunch of kids all lined up on devices, they're getting the energy, they're getting the subliminal messages, they're learning, and they're seeing things that, oh my goodness, like I never had exposure to that stuff when I was young. So imagine how far ahead our kids can potentially be by surrounding them in those learning, those motivating environments. And so Diane mentioned about buy-in, having those conversations with your partner, with your spouse, with your kids, so they know what you're doing and why. And there was a couple things that helped me get buy-in for my kids. And it was to the point at one point that they were starting to make comments like, Mom, you're always on your phone, right? Mom, you're always on your phone. And I was like, well, I'm actually working. So when we were working really hard to qualify for the OG Getaway last year, when I could show them that mom needs to do work because this is what we're going for, they're like, oh, okay, they got it. And there has to be negotiation. There has to be back and forth. I remember one month end, I was going for a certain target. It was a month end and it was Friday, and I was working at the pharmacy, and stressful day trying to do 3 things at the same time. And I was trying to, I was working really hard. I was keeping track of everything, and I was so close to hitting my goal. But I knew when we came home Friday end of the day, I needed a little bit of breather, and the kids needed their time too. So we came home, had a quick pizza, went to the beach for a bit. I could just chill on the beach. This is Lake Erie, so this is not these pretty beach pictures. But we had that time for me and the kids to relax and run. Stopped and got them ice cream on the way home. And as we're driving home, I told them, I said, hey, when we get back to the house, I need to do about an hour or 2 of work when we get home. And they're like, why? And then when I found their currency and that they could understand it, then I was like, oh, okay. So when they know that there's a trip we're working for, and because this is a family business that my children are involved with, the decision of where we went was also a family decision. So when the locations of the OG Getaway last year were announced, we had these 5 wonderful locations we could choose to. And I'm like, hey guys, come here, Tim, take a look. These are the places that we can go. And right away, my then 8-year-old looked and went, Florida. Because he had been wanting to go to Florida for 4 years. And he saw, we can go to Florida. He's like, we're going to Florida. So once they knew that that was on the line and that's what mom was working for, not just for mom, but for them. So when they can see that output, once you know their currency, that helps, right? So maybe it's a dollar value, right? Maybe, it's like, I need to do this to make $300, right? Like, what is that amount that is going to be helpful for you to put a fixed number in your head, a fixed goal that also makes it worthwhile for you and your family, and something attainable and something that you can work towards. It's amazing when you have that goal that everyone gets. And again, with kids, it can be a little different, right? What do they get? And what's their currency? But once they get that and you know their currency, then the negotiations and the compromises and how we were going to work with that together so that we still had our great time together as mom and kids, but then also the goal still got accomplished as well.
How rewarding.
So that was us when we got to Florida last year. And if you could have seen their faces, I think we had to get up at like 4 a.m. or something to drive to Detroit to the airport. if you could have seen their little faces when I woke them up, I'm like, it's Florida time, just grinning ear to ear. So, they don't, this one over here on the right, they don't love taking pictures with mom, but that for us, that was a trip of a lifetime. So that I never would have been able to give my children that vacation at that time in my life without the work that we had to do with Organo to get there, and with Organo at our side. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity that we had.
How beautiful. And that's exactly it. You know their currency, get them to pick up the trip. Congratulations on that. I didn't give Dylan a chance. I'm like, you know what? We're going to Bali. End of story, because I needed to go to Bali. But the nice thing is we got to Bali, and Organo is super. By the way, if you've never been on an OG getaway, it's an absolute must. Organo will always put you in the best hotels, the best service. Like I'm telling you, it is all out. When we landed in Bali, we had our own swimming pool from our suite. Literally, we'd open up those doors. It was a deck and a pool, and it was our little private oasis, and it was delicious. It was like 12-hour flight. We got there. The first thing we did was swim under the stars. And of course, every night we had the meeting after the meeting in our room. We had the team over. We were just, opening up sachets. And then, like you said, getting them involved, right? If you get them, opening up the inventory. Sometimes we get boxes. I say, Dylan, here's your knife. Go open up the boxes, count how many boxes came, organize the sachets for the Bags for Life program, get them involved. And it's amazing how this starts to become very cohesive, that everyone gets excited and on board. Love it. And at what point was the turning point for you, Natalie? Like, you're running, you see the Organo business, and most people who have never done network marketing before, I always tell them this, look, unless you've done network marketing, unless you've earned 6 to 7 figures, you don't know what you're doing. You need training. Like if you got a job tomorrow at McDonald's, at Tim Hortons, at any fast food joint, at any dollar store, you would need a day of training. You don't just wake up thinking that you're going to know it all. And that's the misconception behind these business models. So even though people want it, even though they do what it takes, if they don't have the proper training, if they don't have the right mentorship, it's really hard to make that shift. And I like to compare it to water, right? Water boils at 212 degrees, not at 211, not at 210. It's a 1 degree shift. And usually there's something in our world that just does that shift for it to actually happen. What was that shift for you that took you from, I'm going to do Organo in my head, because this makes sense, to I'm going to do Organo in my heart, because my DNA is now syncing up to what this company is about, what it stands for, and where it's going?
Yeah, you can definitely spend a lot of time spinning your wheels and missing that one little thing, missing that 1 degree, doing work, and not seeing output, and not having the right guidance and seeing the right framework and the right structure. So I was blessed very early on that I could see it. I could see how it was all going to work. But it was not until I went to GoPro my first year after being an Organo consultant that I could see on a much bigger scale what was possible. Where I could sit in an auditorium with thousands and thousands of people, and I could see very clearly the training for myself that I needed, and where I needed to step up, and the skills I needed to do, and what I needed to invest my time, energy, and efforts into. Once I saw that and saw the possibility, it was like, wow, it blew the lid off. And I was there with other members of my team, and it was just like, oh my goodness, like we can do this. Like we can do this. This is for real. And this, I know that if I follow this training structure and these plans that are put in front of me, I'm going to have the output that I want. Like as Diane said, it's like if I can put in the energy and effort with an expected outcome, it can happen. So when you could see that and in that environment and see it working for so many people, that's where it's like, chips in, let's do this.
That's when you know that you know that you know. And I too was born at an event. So events will build your business faster than anything else. You will never, ever meet a 6-7 figure income earner in the field of direct sales that has never gone to events. It does not exist. So OG family, if you're not going to your local meetings, your weekly meetings, your company conventions, your third-party expert events like GoPro Recruiting Mastery, don't expect big results. There has to be a shift. Shifts happen at events. Belief happens at events. When you see the people in front of you and the surroundings, and you get away from your law of familiarity spaces and homes and routines, and you get to indulge for 3 days and really make a decision, that's when the shift happens. And that's exactly what we're looking for, is we're looking for people to just have that shift, and I'm glad you went to that Go Prevent, because I saw so many of our leaders just have this massive takeoff after that event, which to me is actually a mandatory event. I always tell people straight up, if you want to win in this, it is absolutely imperative that you go. Now, I love what they say. They say the secret to your future is hidden in your daily routine. Your daily routine, your daily method of operation is everything. It's an indicator of who you are, what you believe in, and it's really the structure and the foundation for us to have those wins in everything. I tell people network marketing is like a gym membership. You don't just get the membership, go home and expect to have muscles the next day. You got to show up to the gym and work out. And yes, there's going to be blood, sweat, and tears in the process, but you'll learn through every process as well. So what are your daily practices? And maybe share a little bit with the Organo family about some things that have worked for you.
Yeah, so daily practices are developing them over time that you can go back to time and time again, and they will get you through your darkest times, your toughest times, no matter what they are, whether it's sleeping on an air mattress in a basement, whether it's adjusting to working from home and homeschooling your children, whether it's learning a new thing, whether it's moving across the country, whatever it is, your daily practices, when you figure out what works for you, and it's easy to do your daily practices when you're feeling good. But when you know what they are and when you're really clear on them and you commit to doing them, even when you don't feel good, even when you feel like crap, that's what's going to pull you through. So everyone's daily practices is going to be different, right? But so for people watching this, because this is the conversations of success, everyone who's successful, every successful person that I've studied or that I look up to have their own daily routines, have their own daily practices that they commit to. And what works for them might be different for you. And things are going to shift season to season. Over time, things are going to adjust. So if you're starting out, if you're like, I have no idea what a morning routine is, I have no idea where to start with being healthy and having healthy thoughts in every day, then you can commit to start with what you can commit to. Don't set the bar so high that you know you're going to fail, because then you're probably just not even going to try. And then if you do try a little bit and you don't reach the bar, then you're just going to be defeated. So commit to in this moment to what you can do tomorrow or this week, even if it seems like something small compared to like maybe who you're looking up to. Start with what you can so that you can create some success and you can create some momentum, right? And so when you know that when you create success and you create momentum and you see improvement over time, well, what works for one thing is going to work for something else. So whether it's starting with a 10-minute walk every morning and then building to 15 and to 20, it's the same way in an Organo business when you start with having a conversation with one customer and 2 customers and 3 customers. It will build over time as you commit to it and do it consistently. So consistently taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. So for me, again, looking over the last 2 years, is like, even when things were tough and I wasn't feeling good, for me was walks. I used to run a lot. I used to do triathlons, and it was just, my body was in a state that there was just too much stress on it. So I had to stop that, but I committed to my walks. I committed to a 20 to 30 minute walk in the morning. Today I did it after supper because it was raining this morning. But I committed to that because I know I feel better when I'm doing it. And I know when I don't do it, I know my brain isn't as clear during the day, and I know I'm going to not make as good decisions. And when you're not feeling well, you definitely need to be making better decisions. So I knew for me, it's like, it's a daily walk, it's meditation, it's gratitude. So it's a practice of gratitude, which can be journaling or just a continual state of being, which is what I strive for it to be, but taking care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit. So drinking lots of water, eating healthy food as best you can. But when you're doing the basics, sleep is so important. But when you're doing the basics of exercising, drinking water, and meditating, sleep will naturally get better as well. So we're very mindful of everything and how they all flow together. So taking care body, mind, and spirit. Just recently like kind of recommitted last week to, I knew I needed to double down on, on a few things, right? Because I'm sure as all of us on this call, we're dealing with some changes in our lives and our routines. And I knew I was off a little bit. So I knew I needed to double down on my gratitude practice. So I made sure, last week I started setting my alarm half an hour earlier than I normally had been. So I make sure I get that time in the morning to do that extra meditation, to do that extra gratitude practice, because I know I feel better. And I know I need to take that extra time for myself to feel better right now. So improvement over perfection. We don't have to be perfect, right? There's no perfect people. There's no perfect people. So with love, we start where we can and we work on improvement. And that's how I looked on my network marketing skills. My goodness, definitely not perfect. Definitely not, at this point, definitely not perfect. But by committing to training and reading the books and showing up to the training calls and going to the events, I committed to improvement over time. And so there's lots of room for improvement for all of us. And that's why we keep doing, that's why people like Diane still invest in continual training and learning and development, because we're never done, which is amazing. So I want to talk a bit about accountability and how that helped me in success in Organo. Is for me, accountability and a little bit of healthy competition. So I'm always one, if I see somebody else doing something, I'm like, well, they're doing it, there's no reason I can't do that, right? So having a running mate or having a partner that you are striving for similar things and are out similar paths. So I'm very blessed in Organo to meet some wonderful people. So, we have accountability with each other. Did you hit Star Achiever this month? How many packs did you sign up this month? How many customers did you serve? How many 7-day challenges did you run? Are you hitting rank this month? What are we going to do? Checking in with those people over time. So that helps so much, having someone doing the same thing you are, and it keeps you on your toes, right? If I'm paired up with Miss Emily Morrow and we're going for a goal the same month, right? And I know what her volume is, and I'm like, well, there's no way she's getting it and I'm not getting it the same month. Right? So that was, that was a pact we made together, and having someone else keeping you accountable for it helps. So like friendly competition to keep you motivated. So find someone that you can run with, that you can do those things with. So daily practices, what gets measured gets managed. So when we are going for a rank, maybe it's your first month going for Star Achiever, maybe it's your first month going for VIP, you have to get organized. You have to get organized and know what you're going for and look at the resources available to you. When I was told, if you want to rank advance, you got to use your daily tracker. Okay, I'm going to use the daily tracker. So I knew where I was throughout the month and I can keep track of things. Where was I? What's my final goal? How am I doing? Am I on pace? Or do I need to kick it up a notch? If you are just blindly going, I hope I get VIP this month, but you're not checking your numbers every day and you're not checking in with the other people, your other consultants that you're working with, it's going to be really, really hard to get your goal. So you have to be measuring your outcome. You have to be measuring your outcome. And I've always loved the saying that leaders show up. Leaders show up to events big and small, whether it's a Zoom call training, because that's our lifeblood right now, because we aren't able to get together in person, whether it's a 4-hour away, Super Saturday or Super Sunday. That's what I had to commit to very early on, because I'm about 4 hours from the main Toronto hub. But very early on, I knew I had to show up to these events, even though they weren't in my geographical, right in my backyard. I had to do what was possible to show up. So whether it's something that's a 2 or 4 hour drive away, or a larger, bigger Organo convention event, or an unaffiliated training event, the leaders show up. So if you're sitting back waiting for your next pin, if you're sitting back waiting for your next level of success, are you showing up? Are you sitting back, or are you showing up? Are you showing up on your calls? Are you showing up supporting your team? And are you showing up where you need to be showing up? Leaders show up, and you need to show up as a leader, right? So, it's not where we are. It's 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. We're dressed. We got our makeup on. This is how a leader shows up, right? So you make that, I've made that conscious effort for a very long time of I'm going to show up and I'm going to act like a leader when I'm in that room. The last time we were together was February at an event in Toronto, and I showed up early, you know, 3 to 4 hour drive, sat in the front row. I'm taking notes because I want to show up. I'm showing up as a leader as I want to be. And even though it's not maybe where I know the potential is, I'm going to show up and do the work along the way.
Like attracts like. You are who you are, and you got to walk into that space before it can be made manifest, right? We are the frequency before it shows up in matter time. So again, I'm going a little bit down the rabbit hole of quantum law, but you and I are both powerful understanders, creators, and passionate about really the new science that's clearly indicating and now proven that we are 99.99% energy, and we're actually 0.001% matter, which means if your frequency is at a certain space and time, you will attract like. Like attracts like, whether you like it or not. I know some of us hate hearing that. I used to hate hearing that, and I realized I had a lot of subconscious programming to do. I had to work with my paradigm. I had to work with my belief systems. Is there deep imprinting? These are questions we got to ask ourselves. And are we showing up? I know at the hotel meetings, we actually have a frame that says leaders show up right at the sign-in table. Welcome, you're here. Guess what? Congratulations. The fact that you drove 4 hours, 30 minutes, an hour across the city in traffic. You took an airplane in. I know we have a beautiful Sapphire Ruby. I can't even remember. Dennis Wong is like a powerful leader. I think he's Sapphire Ruby. Yeah. Okay. So he's Ruby in my world because he has that energy to him. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. He'll fly in, you know, in a heartbeat from Windsor to be at some of the meetings. And I think that's just so powerful. So congratulations for showing up, Natalie. And it's no coincidence that we're having this conversation here on OG Academy. It's about, you know, what are we doing? What are people doing? And whoever is listening on this call, what tools, what tips can you take with you tonight? And see how you can implement that to create your version of a powerful organo in your world. That's the beautiful thing about that. You make it what you want it to be.
Yeah, so I'm seeing some comments on the Facebook feed, so I'm checking that on my phone. So some people are putting in, you know, what they're doing on a regular basis as part of their daily practice. So go ahead, if you guys are watching, put in what is part of your daily practice that is super important for you. You know, especially if someone's just new to our OG family, just getting started, and you know, where do they start, right? So you know, they're tuned in and they're watching. Maybe from some of the comments in the feed, they'll get some things of ideas of what they can do. I see Jennifer Wong's on here. Like I know, you know, everyone has their readings that they do and their journaling that we do. So this is amazing. I love everyone's comments, and thanks everyone for tuning in and sharing with us.
We are interactive tonight. You know, there's two of us, so we can actually handle looking back and forth from the feeds. Sometimes when you do these calls on your own, I know sometimes I get lost in my train of thought as I trying to get the presentation to par and get it, you know, on the air and interacting back and forth. So, you know, here we are, two women. Thank you for sharing your story, Natalie. I don't know if you have any more slides for us tonight to see. I know you put a PowerPoint together, and for the record, guys, we didn't even preview any of this. We're like, you know what, we're going to be very genuine. We're going to have an honest conversation. We're just going to totally flow with this. And I know Natalie's story is very much parallel to mine. Single mom. We met at an event. We had a heartfelt story. As soon as she told me, look, I need to make a change now. Here's my life. I was like, you know what, girlfriend, if you're in, I'm in. I will match your efforts. I am 100% there. I know what this did for me. And if I can help unlock a level of freedom for someone, whether this is your part-time gig, whether you want it to be a full-time business, you know, you're in business for yourself. You will never be by yourself, ever. We have a community. We have online training. We have our G Academy. Every day we're doing 20-minute posts. We have new budding leaders and stories to share. We have wide open market. We have a powerful product. There is a waiting list for our product. Do you understand? We're the Apple of the industry when it comes to our products. They are incredible. I don't like to use that word. No, back to Sachin. It's not incredible. They are fabulous. They are outstanding, and people want them all around the world. That is huge. And when you realize what you have and you understand that this model is real, well, now you have such enormous potential to create anything you want out of this if you are hungry. That is it. You got to be coachable and hungry. These are not magic beans. You don't plant them in the ground and they just turn into something. You got to be hungry and coachable. But here's what I know. If you are, and you allow yourself to be led along the way, as you learn, you will stretch and become better. People are going to love the products. They're going to continue reordering. And that translates into asset income, which is basically generational wealth. I don't know if people really understand what they have here as a model, but let me be really clear that you have a model that you can generate cash flow from anywhere in the world, beats any entrepreneurial venture that I know of, because it has so much potential for the person that's hungry and coachable. You need zero cash flow to start, no risk whatsoever. Where in the world can you work on a part-time level for 3 to 4 hours a day, pretty much part-time, and get paid for the next 30, 40 to 60 years for every person that wants their coffee? Think about it. This is a recession-proof product. And now I know I harp on the coffee because I'm passionate about the coffee. Now we have additional verticals, which, by the way, I didn't have those verticals when I ran for Diamond, or when I ran for Sapphire, when I ran for Ruby. Now we have many verticals that people can invest into, and that I'm really excited about. So this is your picture when you went Sapphire, right, Natalie?
Yes.
Look at that. Real time on stage with the gang of Sapphires. We celebrate Sapphire very strongly in this company. Why? Unless you've done network marketing before, you don't know what you're doing. It's okay. It's a learning curve. The beginning is the most challenging time because you're trying to figure it out. You're going over your own mental blocks. You're challenged with people that don't believe in the industry and have probably some negative things or some judgmental things to say. Oh, well, I'm a big fan of, hey, if you wouldn't change places with them, if you're not going to exchange where they're at, then why take someone's advice that hasn't had the result you're looking for? That makes no sense to me. I would never ask a chiropractor how to do dentistry. I would never ask a pharmacist like Natalie about, I don't know, teaching at high school. Like, you got to go to where people are having the results. Talk to the most plugged in upline, the person having the most results, and get that kind of coaching and that kind of support. And where this took place, where did you go, Sapphire? What event was this, and what location?
This was Florida. This was Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Congratulations, Natalie. And, now that we've survived a very turbulent year in Organo, I mean, we know that there's been changes, really powerful, healthy changes. And yes, we've had some wait times to do. And yes, we've had to be patient with some of our technology. And that's what happens when there is a storm. Storms actually help reset nature. You will always have a big thunderstorm before you have that beautiful rainfall that nourishes all of the planet. There's always some sort of chaos before you have the next wave of peace and tranquility and abundance. There's seasons in every single business model. And right now we're entering the springtime. I'm so excited about that. And so excited to have you on this platform sharing with us tonight, Natalie. Any sort of advice for anyone that you might want to share that maybe is running for Sapphire, maybe is brand new, maybe is kind of questioning their beliefs, anything you want to share for someone to take home with them tonight?
Yeah, so many things going through my mind right now. But when I popped this picture up as we were talking right now, what struck me is with Organo is the health and the self-development. Those are two things I'm so passionate about. I've been passionate about really my whole life. So to have access to a line of products that is so healthy for me and my family, and that I can confidently share with other people I care about, is amazing. And it's a real venue for self-development, right? And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're successful in one thing, and the tools and the things you learn and the skills you learn in one area of your life, they're going to ripple out to other things. So the skills that I've had to learn in network marketing, well, they're helped me in all other areas of my business, right? In so many areas of my business, for how to talk to people, how to be more comfortable, how to listen to other people's stories, how to make connection. That's just going to help you no matter what you are trying to do. And when I look at these these people that were on stage with me in August last year, these are people who get that we're passionate about health, we're passionate about helping people, and we're passionate about self-development for ourselves. And we would love to share that with as many people as possible. All these people on here are amazing, beautiful leaders. So to get to the level of Sapphire, you have to prove yourself as a leader. You know, you can hustle, you can do a lot of work yourself, but to get to the level of Sapphire, you have to prove yourself as a leader and be showing up as a leader consistently. So, you know, this was a very special moment, obviously last August, to be recognized on stage at the convention of, you know, receiving the Eagle statue as a Sapphire, and to have my my children there again, for them to see that, oh, okay, when mom says she's working, it's actually for something. Okay, they're like, okay, this is what's going on, right? Maybe they couldn't put together like, what's this trophy for? But they could see that, like, oh, okay, this is something going on. And I'll kind of close off with this. So this was just this past November, after, you know, 18 months of, you know, not having a home of my own. This was the boys' first time going into the new house. And so I'll share with what you want you. And it was in September. It was just like, all of a sudden, it was just like a light switch. It was just like, you're ready for your own place. So I started looking. Long story short, I saw this house. My friend's a real estate agent. He sent me a couple listings, and I was just like, I need to check this one. So I went and saw it once, put an offer in the same day. Offer was accepted the same day. So this is the day we got the house, less than a month later. So my boys hadn't actually been in the house. So this is them going in. So everything that I clung to, my daily routines, my daily practices, doubling down on my self-care, having very clear goals and keeping track. As a mom, to have our own place and our own space again, I was like, oh my goodness. So this was a big monumental moment for us that, you know, took us 18 months to get there. So sometimes on the journey, you know, we can't be the judge of how long something's going to take. You know, it's not up to us. You know, the how is not up to us sometimes, most of the time. But when we know that, and we have the humility of like, okay, this is what I'm going for, and this is what I want, and we're visualizing that, and we're working towards it. I had no idea that was going to be the house. Like, I saw one house, and it was it, and it was done. And the things that had to happen from other places to make that reality, so we could turn that key on November 1st of last year. You know, I can't even imagine all the things in the universe that were in place for that to happen. It's quite remarkable and humbling when I sit back and think about that, how it was the perfect place and the perfect thing. But the things that went into making me a successful Sapphire consultant and getting me to Sapphire. So whether it's VIP, whether it's Platinum Elite, whatever it's Sapphire you're going for, these things that Diane and I talked about, things that make you successful in one area of life will make you successful in any area of life. And if you're willing to work for it and get out of your own way and clear the stuff that's not serving you anymore, you can have whatever you want.
How powerful. I love your story. See, there you have it, OG family. If you followed Natalie's story from the beginning of this call, you saw that she was sleeping on a couch. You saw that her world got turned upside down. You saw that she went from her very first Organo paycheck, bought herself a mattress. Like, I mean, these are the stages of survival when your whole world gets shattered and now you lose your home, you're sleeping on a couch, you got kids to feed, you don't know how things are going to happen. And then she meets us, we meet her, there's a connection, there's a vision, there's a frequency that's very, very similar. And congratulations, Natalie, because it was your work, your focus, your decision to want to create what you wanted out of the universe. What you want once that's beautifully said. You're so correct. And here you are in your brand new home with your two little boys. You have your own nest egg. And I'm sure you're super excited because creation doesn't stop here. It actually starts. You get to now create bigger, better, faster, more abundant, whatever feels right for you. So what's the next plans in the pipeline for you, Natalie?
The next plans in the pipeline. Yeah, figuring out how to get my 9-year-old to do online learning.
I can relate.
So like, these are the honest conversations that, people need to have on Conversations of Success. Is like, sometimes it's day by day. Sometimes it's, okay, let's get that. But yeah, we've definitely done some, we've definitely taken the opportunity in the last 6 weeks or so. We've done some things around the house to make it more our own and more our space and more our vibe. So I'm definitely looking forward to the time where we can safely have people back. And then, you know, I'm in the basement, so the living room is like, that's local OG headquarters, right? So I'm so looking forward to the time that we can have events and have people over and doing that, because again, I've created that space and environment to nurture that and to support that. So that's been my vision since getting this house. So that's definitely on the on the thing once we're allowed to really gather in numbers again, to really kick that off locally again would be amazing, amazing to be able to it. But in the meantime, it's porch deliveries. It's mailing out packages to people who need the product, and doing the doorstop deliveries. And in my functional medicine practice, I'm working on a couple new programs, and definitely Organo is part of those protocols for people. Because I want people doing all the things on a regular basis that's going to contribute to making them healthy, happier, smarter human beings, and Organo fits with that, which is why it's part of my life, and I want a part of my client's life as well. So I've been, for the last couple months, I've been working really hard behind the scenes to put a couple new programs together, and so they're ready to launch. So I'm happy to have Organo products as part of those programs for my clients. So that's the next step. Those are the two next things I'm really looking forward to happening again.
Well, fabulous. Thank you for sharing your beautiful night with us, Natalie, sharing your story with all of Organo family. Hopefully you guys have something here that you can take away and implement in your business, and be motivated, be empowered. We're just getting started. This company is rolling out to be so strong and so beautiful. I love our leadership. I love our new distributors coming on the forefront, our new budding leaders. You know, we have a wide open market. We have such powerful, powerful message to share with the world. Thank you, Natalie, for sharing your night. Thank you, Organo family, for showing up. You're a leader for just being on this call. Connect with your teams, make everyone feel the best versions of themselves, because people want to be around that energy. So have a beautiful Sunday, everyone. Have a beautiful Sunday, Natalie. I'll see you in Leamington, if not Toronto.
Sounds great. See you soon, hon.
Have a good night, everyone.